I am taking a break from playing Call of Duty tonight or watching other people play Call of Duty to give you a breakdown or summary of the United States presidential debate that just happened on CNN tonight. So here goes. Trump thinks debates about how you're going to handle the political issues, concerning a superpower for the next decade or two. He thinks debates are a waste of time. This guy needs to be in a mental institution. Trump denied the existence of COVID for the first 90 to 120 fucking days, if not the whole fucking time. Just more of the same. He's a petulant child, and he gave us a clinic on projection.
What do you say to voters who feel they are worse off under your presidency than they were under President Trump?
We got to take a look at what I was left when I became president and what Mr. Trump left me. We had an economy that was in free fall. The pandemic was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he said was, it's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach in your arm. You'll be all right. The economy collapsed. There were no jobs. Unemployment rate rose to 15%. It was terrible. And so what we had to do was try to put things back together again. And that's exactly what we began to do. We created 15,000 new jobs. We have 800,000 new manufacturing jobs. But there's more to be done. There's more to be done. Working class people are still in trouble. I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I come of a household where the kitchen table, if the things weren't able to be met during the month, it was a problem. The price of eggs, the price of gas, the price of housing, the price of a whole range of things. That's why I'm working so hard to make sure I deal with those problems. And we're going to make sure that we reduce the price of housing. We're going to make sure we build 2 million new units. We're going to make sure we cap rents so corporate greed can't take over. The combination that I was left with in corporate greed is the reason why we're in this problem right now. In addition to that, we're in a situation where if you take a look at all that was done in his administration, he didn't do much at all. By the time he left, things were in chaos, literally chaos. And so we put things back together. We created, I said, those jobs. We make sure we had a situation where we brought down the price of prescription drugs, which is a major issue for many people, to $15 for an insulin shot as opposed to $400. No senior has to pay more than $200 for any drug, all the drugs they can include beginning next year. And the situation is and we're going to make that available to everybody. All Americans. So we're working to bring down the price of around the kitchen table, and that's what we're going to get done. His economy, he rewarded the wealthy. He had the largest tax cut in American history, $2 trillion. He raised a deficit larger than any president has in any one term. He's the only president other than Herbert Hoover who's lost more jobs than he had when he began, since Herbert Hoover. The idea that he did something that was significant, and the military, when he was president, they were still killing people in Afghanistan. He didn't do anything about that. Truth is, I'm the only president this century that doesn't have this decade, that doesn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world like he did.
And in the first 5 minutes, would a commander-in-chief ever ask, can I respond to that question? No. They would fucking take their next allotted time, like an adult, and respond to the fucking question. They wouldn't fucking beg to Jake Tapper, can I answer that question? No, you can take the time that we're going to give you to respond that in however way you want, man.
President Trump, I want to follow up if I can.
Am I allowed to respond to him?
Well, I'm going to ask you a follow-up. You can do whatever you want with the minute that we give you. You want to impose a 10% tariff on all goods coming into the U.S. How will you ensure that that doesn't drive prices even higher? Your administration approved $8.4 trillion in new debt, while so far, President Biden, you've approved $4.3 trillion in new debt. With the U.S. facing trillion-dollar deficits and record debt, why should top earners and corporations pay even less in taxes than they do now?
And I will tell you, not only poor there, but throughout the entire world, we're no longer respected as a country. They don't respect our leadership. They don't respect the United States anymore. We're like a third world nation between weaponization of his election, trying to go after his political opponent, all of the things he's done. We've become like a third world nation, and it's a shame. And why he allowed millions of people to come in here from prisons, jails, and mental institutions to come into our country and destroy our country.
He had the largest national debt of any president in a 4-year period, number one. Number two, that $2 trillion tax cut benefited the very wealthy. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 billionaires in America. And what's happening? They're in a situation where they, in fact, pay 8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24%, 25%, either one of those numbers, they'd raise $500 billion, I should say, in a 10-year period. We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do. We finally beat Medicare.
Foreign countries, I'm friends with a lot of people, they cannot believe what happened to the United States of America. We're no longer respected. They don't like us. We give them everything they want, and they think we're stupid. They think we're very stupid people. What we're doing for other countries, and they do nothing for us. What this man has done is absolutely criminal.
Former President Trump, you take credit for the decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, which returned the issue of abortion to the states.
Correct.
However, the federal government still plays a role in whether or not women have access to abortion pills. They're used in about 2/3 of all abortions. As president, would you block abortion medication?
First of all, I'd like to say that I have zero respect for former President Trump. He's a complainer in chief. He's a liar. He's a fearmonger. He says that we're a failing nation and that we're living in hell. Trump's corruption is unprecedented and certainly unpresidential. He tried to claim that he negotiated the cost of insulin from one pharmaceutical company, whereas Biden got all the pharmaceutical companies to fall in line for the cost of insulin for Medicare recipients. Biden made a good point that by negotiating the cost of insulin down for all the manufacturers, it reduced tremendously the United States national debt over the next 10 years. Trump laughed and smiled when they said that he gave tax cuts to only the wealthy and destroying the middle class. Biden may be older, but he wants a fair tax system for people making $400,000 or less per year. And I don't think that's a bad thing. To have people making over $400,000 a year pay their fair share, it's not a bad thing. He's not a demon for that. Trump is a whiner and a liar. He complained the whole time everything that came out of his mouth was a fucking lie. And he's a fraud. He's a fraudster and a con man. Literally no evidence backs up what Trump said the entire time. I think we're at maybe 50, 60,000 lies now. If we left off of his presidency at 30,000, he's got to be at 60,000 plus by now. Trump tried to say that he wasn't gonna run until he saw how terrible Biden was as a president. That's crazy. He said he didn't even lose the presidency. He didn't give up power from the Oval Office. This motherfucker broke the emolument clause. He took money during his presidency, like millions of dollars. Putin went into Ukraine because former President Trump weakened the United States and weakened NATO. Trump tries to say that we're close to World War III. To Putin's glee, we're not close to World War III. We saw how incompetent Russia's military's been in this special military operation against Ukraine. That's horseshit. The only reason Trump is running for president is to stay out of prison. We all know that. It's so wild that he tries to claim like he's some like powerful, strong man, and then he just claims like he's a victim to all this shit. Oh yeah, he's certainly a big strong man claiming victimhood. I bet Biden could beat him at golf, especially if Trump had to carry his own golf bag. There's no way that Trump carries his own bag. There's no fucking way. If Biden and Trump had taken their shirts off on stage, we would have thrown up if we'd fucking seen Trump. Hearing former President Trump call our nation a failing nation after having MAGA Republicans, not pass the border bill just because for political reasons, and then a myriad other things that he's done to detract from democracy is a slap in our face. Trump shot that border deal down that would have helped the opioid crisis. Biden made that statement here. When Trump was asked about the opioid crisis, he just was talking about China with Biden. Trump skipped the opioid question to attack Biden on China. Then he blamed COVID for opioids. Trump is an idiot. Trump blames COVID. That border deal would have gotten us proper machines to track the opioids coming across our border. One thing I'm certain of is Trump will bankrupt this country if reelected. Trump will raise taxes on the middle class in the form of tariffs. Trump has literally done less than nothing, in my opinion. He's done worse. He's detracted from our democracy in the 4 years that he had any sort of control. Trump doesn't respect America, the United States of America, and he doesn't respect himself. More and more fear-mongering, and it's fucking opposite day every time he opens his fucking mouth. Trump thrives on, fear-mongering and, wanting to fire people. He's the one that brought people in, only the best, and then they turned on him and he fired him, So does he hire the best people? Really? If Trump is reelected, we're more than likely going to actually have a recession a lot bigger than what we saw after COVID. Trump is a fascist. Trump is a crook. Trump fired the general who heard him call our POWs suckers and losers. He fired that fucking general because that general called him out for saying that. And then to hear Trump calling Biden a liar is just disgraceful. And to see Trump's stupid face when he's being called out for his lies, he's so smug. He's like, fuck you, man. I agree that people under 400K should be taxed differently than people making over 400K. Biden wants to make Social Security solvent by taxing the rich, which they've been getting out of getting taxed for decades now under Republican leadership. Biden stands for progress. Trump stands for hate. Trump wants to destroy Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Trump doesn't give a fuck about climate change, and he lied about the Paris Accord. Trump tokenizes black people and referred to black people as blacks. Trump loves police, yes, yet on January 6th, his horde killed police officers. And they currently are pissing on the rule of law. The reason why our inflation was so exacerbated was because Trump's malfeasance in handling COVID. Trump wants to take away tax credits from the Affordable Care Act. Those plans will be so expensive if we don't have advanced premium tax credits with those plans. Trump decimated our economy, whereas Biden wants $8K per family for tax credits for the advanced premium tax credits. But Trump lying about Biden causing all this inflation that's killing people, that's projection. That's exactly what Trump did. And as if Trump's duck face, when you're calling him out for blatant lying, is enough just to piss you off. It's like he doesn't even think what we saw, all the bullshit they've done with our own fucking eyes. January 6th, gassing protesters, holding a Bible upside down, not knowing Bible verses, highway off ramps to nowhere. Everything that came out of his mouth was a lie. He conflates tons of facts about anything from Ukraine to, Gaza and Israel. If anything, what proves to me is that he is broke as fuck, undergoing so much scrutiny from the courts, and he has so much cost with that stupid ass power red tie. He didn't want to do this debate. He doesn't want to be president. He doesn't want to go to jail. That's what this is about. The fact that he's a convicted felon and he's saying that he's going to go after his political opponents if he gets reelected, how are you Christians still behind that? Plus, Biden gave more money to the HBCUs than Trump did. So Putin absolutely orchestrated the 10/7 Hamas attack against Israel to cause the discord here, and also to take attention away from his failed special military operation in Ukraine. And also Putin invaded Ukraine because Trump had weakened NATO. Trump would absolutely pull out of NATO and just fuck everybody and put us into World War III. That's basically what you can take from all this. Trump violated his oath of office January 6th and many other days. And he talks like a fucking fifth grader. Trump would have taken our National Guard and weaponized it to try to take over our government on January 6th if we'd have allowed National Guard to go in. Trump is responsible for January 6th. an attempted insurrection. He's a wannabe authoritarian, and he's a bad actor, and he's cringe as fuck. Or every time Trump talks about Biden getting funds for Ukraine, he talks about it like it's like cold hard cash. It's fucking old weapons that we're giving him. And most of the money that is allocated goes to the Department of Defense, our own Department of Defense. Trump told Putin to do whatever he wanted in Ukraine. I think Trump is covering for Putin's incompetence by trying to say it first that Biden is, incompetent. Biden owned Trump on VA benefits, PACT Act. Again, everything Trump said was a lie. Literally everything. You could mark it down. If you want to go back and watch the whole thing, every fucking thing he said was a lie. He's a maniac and he's a fascist, demonizing immigrants. Trump claims that he supports the military. He may support the military-industrial complex, but in no way does he support veterans. Hamas and Putin want Israel war to continue. That Trump signed the Doha Agreement and released 5,000 Taliban. The Taliban that our United States military lost service people over capturing. He released those guys, one of which was one of the main commanders in the toppling of Afghanistan's government. Trump bobs his head. He's like, yeah, I want tax cuts for the rich. He's just bobbing his head. What the fuck? Trump's projection, we're a third world country, we're a failing nation. He needs to be put in a mental institution. Biden's about making the rich pay their fair share. The things that Trump says that people are doing, like graping and unaliving people at the border, that's fucking just pure bullshit. Biden owned Trump on Roe v. Wade. Trump is a stochastic terrorist, a bully, and an ableist, amongst a host of other things. Trump is exaggerating in everything he says, and he's lying. If it's not a half-truth, it's a full-on lie. Anything that comes out of his mouth. I'm riding with Biden. No politician should be telling any woman what to do with her body. Period. I don't care if it's on the state, county, municipal, federal level. No fucking politician should be telling a grown-ass woman what to do with her body. It should be between her and her doctor.